That's right. Breaking bread with Uncarcerated. Hi, I'm Lee Scott.
I am Kevin Scott.
This is my brother from another mother. No relation. He's gotten way back into hand farts, and
I'm
so
having a real renaissance.
really bringing it back, bringing sexy back, bringing hand farts back.
It's a good time to bring it back in your life.
Which I think that it's so distracting. I think hand farts is actually a good segue if you're still watching at this point. It's a good segue into what we're going to talk about today, which is farts. The importance of farts today cannot be undervalued.
We need some laughs.
We do.
No need to get into all of the nuance and detail, but it has been a bit of a heavy week
For both of us, yeah.
Yeah, separately, kind of personally, professionally, there's been just some deep waters, and so we thought it would be good to actually bring a little levity, even selfishly, just to have some laughs, and we'll see what happens. Maybe some good stories.
So if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome to Uncarcerated. What we do on this show is we talk with people just coming home from incarceration. We talk to people involved with activism and advocacy around prison reform and abolition and anything in the realm of adding some humanity back to people. We're a cathartic space. We are definitely pro-reform on every level. And so we're glad you joined us. You can find us on Twitter at Uncarcerated. You can find us if you want to email us your own story, if you'd like to come on the show, uncarceratedpod@gmail.com. And each and every week we have a different guest, but sometimes we just decide to shoot the shit about whatever. And when Kevin and I talked this week, there was a lot going on in his life and in my life. And the original idea was, hey, we should come up with a list of do's and don'ts. We've got a guest coming up in just a couple days. We got guests lined up for the next couple months. Unbelievable guests up until this point. And then Kev called an audible right at the last minute, was like, I'm not into any heavy shit today, so let's talk about farts. And so that's what we're going to do. That's exactly what we're going to do. I think we both needed it. So I think the place to start is comedy and humor and levity are so important in my life personally. To the point where I've had to talk to therapists about it, because I definitely don't take many things seriously. I have used humor since I was a wee lad to get out of situations. I remember my dad, this is probably my first use of comedy as a defense. My dad was a teacher, and at 3:30 in the afternoon, when school was over and he was home, he did not want to hear my brother and sister arguing. And so I had to have a whole routine to get them to laugh. So I would just be like, butts, and then they'd laugh, and then I wouldn't get in trouble for them arguing or whatever. And I knew then that I can use comedy to get me into and out of stressful, harmful situations. And I applied that in every area of my life, probably to a fault much of the time, but having some laughs when you're in the darkest place, you're alone, you don't see your friends and family, you don't get hugs, you don't get that serotonin boost. The release, I cannot overstate the importance of the release of laughter while you're in prison.
Yeah, so we continue to find lots of common ground. So not a surprise.
Told you I was going to make you my best friend.
Our wedding was in the fall.
Yep.
So humor has been a big deal for me. I've used it certainly.
Which is surprising because you're not funny
at all.
So yeah,
not remote. I understand. Famously fucking stoic.
Yeah, stoic. That's how I describe you.
Resting cockface. So I've definitely have used it in an unhealthy way, like you're alluding to, in terms of deflecting or avoiding. It can be a coping mechanism, and sometimes that leaves the real juicy shit unattended to. That's happened too. However, on the flip side, it has absolutely helped me, very much like you're saying, to actually survive in some very healthy ways, some things that would otherwise be devastating. I know that gallows humor, I rode that shit almost the entire time that I was in prison. That actually got me through, and being able to find some moments of genuine laughter in the worst possible place on the planet is actually very like empowering moment to be like, holy shit, like I'm still in here.
I'm still alive.
I'm still in here. Like,
I can still find joy.
I can still find joy. Like there's something very precious that has not been gotten to. Like holy fuck. Like I feel so destroyed. I feel so devastated. But however, my laughs are demonstrating to me like, okay, I'm okay. I'm okay. And so
You know what? It's funny when you say the worst place in the world. I hear people throw that out all the time. Oh my God, this grocery store is the worst place in the world. And I'm like, you have no idea. Like we have literally been to the worst place in the world. There may be some other things that are worse, but it is among the worst place in the world.
Yeah, I think I even told you like that my last words to a prison person was a joke. Like literally,
right.
The very last words I said to the guy when I was leaving was, "I was not thrilled with the accommodations."
Yeah.
To the correctional officer, which to me was like fucking great. Going out with some comedy. You know, this has been the worst fucking experience of my life, but being able to even like exit with like that last little fucking like shot of like, you didn't get me. Like you never got me all the way.
Yep.
Like that.
I'm still here.
I'm still here.
And you know, I don't know if you experience this, but I experience this often, that there was a backlash to comedy. There was a few guys in the dorm who were uber serious, and were like, all that kikiing, that ain't necessary. All that laughing.
Kiki. I never heard that term before.
Yeah, kikiing. Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
Right.
I know what it means, but I don't know where it came. Anyway,
that's right. But I'm sure, like I was told, I was in Toastmasters. We interviewed Corey, and there was actually a massive debate, like a literal debate, on whether we should have humor involved in Toastmasters. He mentioned me bringing that to the table, and that's because it was a big bone of contention. There were some older, more serious guys who had done some serious time, and they wanted Toastmasters to be spiritual, they wanted it to be intellectual, but they did not see the value of bringing humor into Toastmasters. And I was like, this is the only hour or two that we get to have any fun with each other. We should have some fun debates. We should have some comedy. And so from county jail, where I almost got into a fight for keeping people up, making people laugh, to prison, to Toastmasters in prison, there was always a few people who were sour on the idea of humor, and I always felt bad for the idea that like you don't have any levity in your life whatsoever. You know.
Same.
Yeah.
Not everybody's a fan.
Right. Not everybody's a fan.
So,
that's right.
Yeah, there were some times where like, I like yucking it up, like having some laughs, and like somebody just like fucking not into that at all.
Yeah.
And just being like, yeah, like fucking.
Which made me laugh even harder, which is not good.
That's like the fart in church moment where
right.
it's like, oh, I'm really not supposed to laugh now. Now I really, really want to laugh.
Yeah.
Like inappropriate laughter.
My son did it at my grandfather's funeral.
Pardon?
Could not stop laughing.
Oh, hell yeah.
He was sitting next to me and he looked over at me, and I looked at him, and my nostrils flared a little bit, so I looked over at him like, and he starts laughing so hard that I had to take him and put him under my coat. Like he's so sad. He's he's crying. Yeah, it's real bad time.
He's taking this really hard. That's amazing. So
which my grandpa would have loved, by the way.
Totally.
He was. I'm sure he was laughing his ass off.
I kind of feel like I wish that was more accepted or something. I think for some people, like there's some probably really great legitimate reasons why like laughter hits something in them where they're like, shut that shit down. Maybe it's too light and they feel the gravity of the situation too much, and it somehow like triggers some sort of painful something.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like absolutely vital. So many moments inside I can think of where that like, having laughs, finding like even like the blackest of humor and what was going on was amazing. It was like,
so let's segue into some of those moments. Okay. So I don't know if you want to go first or I want to go first, but I mean I can throw out an example.
Go ahead. Please do.
So what should I start with? We're going to run through a few of our favorite hilarious moments that we can remember. I can tell you the hardest I've ever laughed in my life was in prison. I've never laughed harder than in prison. The first experience I had with some awkward, cringy, uncomfortable laughter. And that was, I was at Lake Butler. I don't know if I told you this, but I was at Lake Butler for like 6 weeks. So when you come into RMC, the medical center in prison, it's like sort of like boot camp. You know, they bring you in and there's a battery of physical and social tests, some sanctioned and some not sanctioned. And I was told when I got to my dorm, don't shower in there because they got them gators in there. And I was like, what? There's alligators in here? That's crazy. And then I realized that gators in prison are some of the dudes that hang out in the shower and look at other dudes in the shower. So they said, don't take a shower in there. First of all, the showers are cold. There's no hot showers at Lake Butler. And there was people in there gunning you down while you're trying to take a shower.
Gunning?
Thank you.
Gunning.
I didn't want to.
Is code for gunning.
So we like to give you guys the inside baseball because that's one of the biggest questions we get on this show. Gunning you down is masturbating. So, and you're not a willing participant in this. They are, but you're not. So I waited till I got to my camp to take a shower. So I go to my psych social and I scored perfect across the board on my TABE test. And the classification lady says, well, we need educators. And that sounds like what you want to do. So you could probably go anywhere. I can't tell you where you're going to go. Where do you not want to go? But I can't promise you won't go there. But I said, well, I've heard from everything that I've studied, I've heard I do not want to go to Columbia or ACI.
Guess where you're going.
So she sends me directly to ACI. So Apalachicola Correctional Institute in Sneads, Florida. And it's legendary for how bad it is. So I get there and I'm going to skip over the first funny story just so I can get to this incident. So now at this point, I've waited 6 weeks to take a shower. Have not showered in 6 weeks. So I get to my dorm and I'm finally ready to take a shower. I don't give a shit if there's gators in there. Okay, bring it on. I'm taking a shower. I smell, I'm stinky, right? The showers are full. So you got 8 open showers, no dividers. It's like a big row. It's like a trough of showers, right? And the showers are completely full and there's a line. So I'm standing there with my towel and my soap, keeping my head down. And I find, I look up to see if the shower's open and I finally get in there and I'm in between one guy on my left and the guy on my right is about 6'5", 250 with a huge swastika on his chest. And I'm like,
that's a shame.
So I get in there and I'm showering. All of a sudden I hear, did I say you could shower here? It's like,
not talking to me.
So I keep showering because that's one of the rules is that you don't answer to anybody because if you answer to them, then you make it about you. So you just keep. So I kept doing. He said, did I say you could shower here? And everybody's quiet. And I was like, well, dude, the showers are full. I mean, he goes, I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding. And I was like, oh man, there's no kidding in the shower. There's no joking in the shower.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
that's a good intro.
That was probably my first taste of breaking the ice with awkward, inappropriate humor. And he did it for me, so
good for him. What a great guy.
Yeah. So I joined up. So no, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I did not do that.
Yeah, the shower was endless source of stress and comedy in there. There's always
the throwing cold water on somebody while they're
shit.
showering.
Me and a couple guys, we had this sort of thing where we would what would be the worst song to sing in the prison shower? And we would try to sing.
Oh, we did that too.
I wanna know what love is.
Yeah.
And shit like that. We would sing
Man Eater. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Man Eater.
We would sing dumb shit in the shower, which was, some people thought it was hilarious.
Yes.
Some people were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So there was.
I'm glad that that's a universal joke.
Yeah.
I'm finding that I thought I was writing jokes, but apparently.
No, it's good. I mean, it was a way to kind of cut through the tension. And some people fucking hated it, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. There was one dude, there's several short, like shower based things. There's one guy, that would go to breakfast in the morning. He would come back. A lot of people go back to bed in that interval between breakfast and like work call later, or the first count, whatever. And he would go into the shower area and he would shave himself from his ears to his thighs. So his entire upper body was shorn, and we called and we called him the centaur. He had these like fucking like hairy leggings left. But from here to here, he was smooth. Smooth as a turtle.
Why I never understood why that, because there's an archetype in every dorm. There is guy who shaves himself. There is guy who uses the Bible to trick you into borrowing things. There is, are you gonna finish that on your tray guy? There's a type.
There's a roster in each dorm, and if you see a vacancy, you just become that guy. So he was like, oh, no one's shaving themselves from the fucking balls to the ears. That's my thing.
That's my thing.
That's me. And so he did that, and he was not universally well received because he shaved himself from his ears to his balls every day, which meant that he was leaving a lot of hairballs into the shower.
And then he would say it wasn't him. Right.
Exactly. So you've met him.
Yeah,
You've met the
told
centaur.
you. Yep.
I've
met this guy.
Just ridiculous.
We had a guy that was about 350 pounds. He was an old bank robbing white dude, and I still don't remember his name, but they called him Santa Claus. And he was like, the guy in New York that has like all the jacket with all the wristwatches. It got what you need. Got you. That's how Santa Claus was. First of all, he's a big fat white guy with a big old beard. Well, at this time you had to shave in prison, but big fat white guy. But really, he was always handing stuff out, and he had several hustles, selling cigarettes and running the poker table, and so they called him Santa Claus. So he had a guy, another old ass white dude, that did all his things for him. He went to the other dorms and picked up his money. He was his June, right? He was his June. And so one morning, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was like a Saturday morning, and you had to wait in the prison I was in. You had to wait till it was your dorm's turn to go to commissary. So, and it was raining, and there was a chance we weren't going to get to go. So I had my card, I had my number, I had gotten up before everyone signed the list, and I was waiting. And I look over, and Santa Claus has his June with rubber gloves on, and he's massaging Ben Gay into his back.
Oh, yeah.
And I sat there and watched that for like a good half an hour. I was like, this is the grossest, weirdest shit I've ever seen in my life.
That's when you became a gunner.
Yeah, that's how I learned what gunning was. Yeah.
I embodied.
I was an elf after that.
That's ridiculous. So he just sort of like gently or roughly massaged.
He was like, I can't reach, he's like talk like that. He was like, I can't reach my boils. I got something on my lower back I need you to get. And then he had a guy with Ben Gay all over his gloves.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Damn,
there was something hilarious and gross, but also something really sweet and intimate about it.
What a friend.
Yeah.
What a friend. I wouldn't do that for you. Maybe I would do that.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
So, I mean, so many ridiculous things. When we were talking earlier about just like, what are some funny things? Some of them are like straight funny. Some of them are like funny mixed with tragedy. Some of them, like at the time, were no laughing matter, but now we can laugh.
Right.
There's like all kinds of great shit like that. I guess just on the theme of shower weirdness or whatever grossness, maybe with the boils. When I was in the county jail was so full that like there weren't enough beds in cells. So
boats.
So they had boats, bunk beds, all kinds of shit, like out in like the common area.
Inside baseball, for those of you who don't know, a boat in prison and jail. You think, well, we can only put so many people in here. That's not what they think. They're going to put people in there, even though it's constitutionally illegal to have you doing it. They do it anyway. And who's going to do anything about it, right? So they have these big plastic, what looks like a canoe, and they'll stick them in there. So I've been in cells that were 4-man cells with 8 people in them because they had 2 boats underneath the beds and 2 boats in the back. So.
Yeah, they just kind of sardine you into wherever. Anyway, so that was what was happening there. All the cells were full, max capacity, plus they were spilling over into the common area. So there was like bunk beds and boats out in there. And so that's where I was staying at first. I was out in like just that common area with a bunch of
day room. Yeah. Were you in a boat?
No, I was in a bunk bed, unfortunately against a wall. So I was like, I had a little like.
Oh, I love being against the wall.
Yeah. So that was.
Isn't that sad that I still am happy about like things that I was like, I was against the wall and it's cold. The wall would be cold. So yeah.
And it felt comforting. Anyway, in some way. So that's where I was.
We're like the same person.
But we didn't. But the downside of not having a cell is we also had no fucking toilet.
Yeah.
So there were 2 cells that were deemed. They never locked them. They stayed open, so everyone had access to toilets. And so that was like kind of one of those things where it's like, hey man, like, you know, you got to piss, you go in there, you got to shit, you got to go, you got to do it. Like, unfortunately,
somebody would tie a sheet up.
Maybe, right? Yeah. So you'd have like a little like a moment, or you just like, if there were people in there sleeping, like you just did it. Like, you just got to do it. You figured out your way.
Yep.
Anyway, there was a guy that was staying in the day room who just like could not bring himself to interact with the toilet like an adult.
Yeah.
He just felt like, I think he was like nervous. He was an older guy.
Yeah.
He was like scared.
Probably never been from jail.
He was scared of everyone and everything.
Right.
Anyway, so this guy, he went in, like the shower was available to anybody. So he had gone.
Oh my God.
So like shower. And I was in the day room, so I noticed, oh, this guy showered. Like I didn't see him, but he went in there and he came out and like whatever. I was like living my life. And somebody else goes into the shower. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck, what's going on in there? Like, and he was like, who the fuck waffle stomped this shit? And I was like, waffle stomped this shit? I was like, oh no. And like, so what happened was the old guy had been hanging on to his shit as much as he could.
Yeah.
Finally, he went into the shower, could no longer fight the inevitable. He shit in the shower and then tried to stomp it down into the drain. Tried to stomp it down and didn't do a bang up job. And his waffle stomp was incomplete. So the next
I know you said waffle stomp that shit for months after that.
I had never heard waffle stomp before or since. So like they was like, who the fuck did this? And it was like, oh man, like obviously it was that guy. I mean, I never said anything, but and like the guy just like was like in his bunk, just like staring at the ceiling, like, oh my God, please just kill me, please kill me, please kill me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anyone ever like traced it back to his
I wish
to his butthole, but it was.
I wish I could tell you that sad but hilarious story was the only time that I had ever experienced that, but we had a guy dump in the shower too.
I'm sure.
Yeah, we had a guy dump in the shower. It was like first time in jail, didn't want to poop in anyone's cell, and dumped in the shower. And they actually ran him out of the dorm because they knew who it was, and they were like, if you were gonna checking in, you guys are learning all sorts of lingo today. Checking in.
Would you like some waffles?
Oh God, waffle, new meaning to Waffle House.
You're not gonna like the syrup.
Checking in is when
new meaning to Waffle House.
Yeah. You can't handle
covered. Chunked, diced.
Chunked and diced for sure.
Yeah.
So if you can't handle what's going on in your cell or your dorm or whatever, and you're scared or you're gonna get beat up, maybe you owe some money on the poker table, you check in, which is telling a guard I'm in fear for my life, and then they put you in solitary confinement. And so the check-in process in this county jail was you had to bang on the door to get the cop.
Sorry, I'm still thinking about the other shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
To get the cop to let you out, right? And a lot of times they wouldn't come, but so you'd hear someone go, "You better get on that door. Get on that door. Get the hell out of here." So not totally poop related, but I'm gonna give you a good one here.
Check in behind the waffle stomp.
When I was the Huddle House Waffle House. So when I was at ACI, I had been there for like a year and a half, and I was on an outside work squad. I had finally gotten used to the going through the nut hut every day and,
Not the nut hut.
yeah, getting checked every single day. You'd have to go out to go to work and get naked before you go out. And then on the way back in, they'd make you get naked, and they called it the nut hut because they check you out. So I had been used to this process. I was like, I had an appeal in, and I thought, well, any day now, maybe I'll get to go back to court, but I didn't have any hope, And so one morning I hear, Scott, pack it up. And I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm going back to Gainesville, and I can see my family, and maybe I go home, who knows. So they take me out front of ACI with like 6 other guys, and they have us wait in a dog cage for the bus to show up. So you're sitting there with all of your worldly possessions in 2 red potato sacks, and you're sitting there waiting, and I start asking questions of the other guys, like, where are you going? Where do you think? And I realize that everybody is going to another prison. And so I'm not going back on appeal. I'm going to go to, at this point, I've surmised that I'm probably going to Lottie, which I heard was a pretty sweet camp. So anything to get away from ACI. Now, I should add at this part here, ACI is split up into 2 units. One is the West unit, which is nobody's going out the gate. It's maximum security. It's a psych camp. So anybody that has mental health problems or takes medication is there. You do not want to be there. I'm at the East unit, which is pretty bad, but they've kind of funneled everybody who's in a problem into 1 or 2 dorms. And the place I'm at is with a bunch of work crew guys, and it wasn't that bad. So now, if you have a medical problem at all, this is important to the story. If you have a medical problem, you're going to go to the West unit. So you don't want to go to the West unit. If you have a medical problem, you fucking lie. That's what you do. So you got guys with like busted collarbones still going out and shoveling stuff, because that's how bad the West unit. I'm feeling fine. You are bleeding. Yeah. So before they put you on the bus, they put this black box around you. So you're handcuffed with this black box with your wrist right there, so that you can't move. So you're on like a 6, 7, 8, 9 hour bus ride like this. Yeah. You can't even like scratch your nose if you want to. Right? Yeah. By the way, an inmate invented that. So thanks a lot to that guy. Yeah.
Piece of shit.
Yeah. So I'm climbing up the back stairs, and he's ankle cuffing my ankles. I've got all my possessions in front of me. And the cop goes, stand up. So I stand up. He goes, stand up straighter, you dumb motherfucker. So I stand up straighter, and I hit my head so hard. That I didn't even feel it. I look down, and there's just blood gushing onto all my possessions. Oh, yeah. But I don't say anything because I don't want to go to the West unit. So I split my head open right there. You can still see a little scar there. And so I just let him cuff my ankles, and I walk all my stuff in, and I sit in the very back seat, and I sit down, right? Guy looks, yeah, it's just blood everywhere. I was like massive head wound Harry, right? So this guy looks over at me, he goes, hey man, you're bleeding. And I go, shut the fuck up, dude, shut up. Another guy goes, yeah, dude, there's fucking blood everywhere. And I go, shut the fuck up, man. I'm trying to get out of here. What the fuck is wrong with you? So all of a sudden I hear a CO on the outside of the bus go, everybody all right in there? And I was like, yeah, everybody's fine. I just scratched my head. I'm fine, right? So thank God, bus starts up, and I had nothing. ACI was legendary for how bad it was. Brutal beating, sexual assault. It's rough, right? So I'm just happy to get away from there. So I'm on the bus on the way to Lottie, and the only thing I have to mop the blood up with is a pair of my boxers. So I just pull out a pair of my boxers, and I'm just holding it like that the whole way there. So the bus pulls into Lottie. Now I've got these bloody boxers. I don't know what to do with them, right? So right before I get off the bus, I just shove them in the back seat. And then I know the next group of guys got on and was like, oh my God, ACI really is that bad.
Bleeding out of his asshole. Yeah. Oh my God. Good for you. That's incredible. That's an amazing story. I hadn't heard that one.
Made it to Lottie.
Yeah. Holy shit. And they called you a dumb motherfucker.
Oh yeah. Thanks.
Not the first, not the
Typical.
last. Yeah, it's amazing. Your impression of him was very good too. That sounds like the standard issue
ACCO
voice.
Yeah,
That's
it
great.
is. Yeah.
A couple things came up while you were talking. One, the Nut Hut. Too many experiences with all that shit.
I saw a guy get the sergeant's name tattooed on his ass just to piss him off coming through the Nut Hut. I don't want to say the cop's name, but I remember it.
bold.
Sergeant blank on it on each butt
Jesus
cheek.
Christ.
Yeah.
There was a guy, this is a really quick little anecdote, but there was a guy who they called him Mr. Pibb. And he was one of the COs. And when you go see your family and give a visit, they would strip us on the way in. So you go through this little room, they strip you deep, you go in after that experience, and then you go hug your mother.
Yeah.
And then you have your visit. Then when you go back in, you got to go back through Mr. Pibb again on the way out,
Yeah.
or some form of mass search, depending on.
I love you, Mom. Guy just looked at my butthole.
Yeah. And so Mr. Pibb, his thing was they called him Mr. Pibb for Mr. Peel It Back. He anyone that was like uncircumcised or otherwise, he would like insist that you reveal the entire.
I cannot believe Sergeant Johnson. That's what he would do.
Yeah.
He'd say, "Peel it
They
back."
called him Mr. Pibb for Peel It Back.
Wow.
Yeah, anyway, he was. I can see the guy's face. I can't remember his name, but he was unsettling. It was like you're just doing this for
Yeah.
some reason that is not based in like what is rolling out of people's foreskin. Like,
Listen,
like, what's in there?
I'm not embarrassed about what I got going on. I'm fine down there. But I'll tell you what, I can't hide anything in my foreskin. There's no
It
way.
was a stab. Anyway, so he was
So gross,
he
dude.
was a real feature.
I saw the guy
movie.
tell that sergeant one time. He said, "Write it up. Write me up. I'm not doing it. Write down on the form while you take me to the box that I wouldn't pull my dick skin back. Write that down."
Prisoner refused to
To pull down his dick skin.
to
Yeah.
reveal entirety of dickhead. You're revealing the entirety of your own dickhead. Sir.
Oh my
You,
God.
you are an entire dickhead.
You know whose dickhead is really being revealed here?
Your spirit, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You dumb motherfucker. Anyway,
It's the dickhead on your soul.
one of the things that when they were like talking about like, man, this is a really horrible experience, but I'm finding some joy or something in this.
Yeah.
Like, so I got to prison. I'd been there for X number of weeks, months, whatever it was. Can't remember. I still felt fairly newish.
Mhm.
I remember that. And they did the massive shakedown, which is this is my very first. I went through several of these. but
CERT team.
so yeah, like basically an army of officers storms your dorm, screaming, yelling, yada yada. They get you out of your cells. This was a T dorm setup, so we had 2-man cells. Everybody out of your cells, they get you like in the TV rooms that you get fucking naked and they search all that shit. Then they brought us all outside. So we're all outside of the dorm and like everyone's like, we were all like in our boxers basically because we'd all been asleep. And everyone's like out there like with their hands on your head, like you're like lined up down the whole like road. And it's it's very tense, it's silence. People are like, oh fuck, they're gonna find my whatever was in their cells. And there's a lot of feelings happening there. And I was like, holy fuck, like this is like I was not prepared for this. Like,
Yeah.
like I had heard about this, but like this feels and looks different than what I had imagined.
This now I'm really in prison.
This is really going
Right,
on. And I was
yeah.
like, what are they doing with my stuff? Anyway, so and there's like a bunch of different officers from another prison. So it's like this whole foreign team
Yeah.
has descended on us. So it's
Yep.
a little like daunting. Anyway, they brought dogs through.
Mhm.
And at this point I had not seen a dog for months. For months. Like I had like and
This
so,
ain't that kind of dog, Kevin.
yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Like and so like so I'm standing there and like they're I'm standing there like I'm shirtless, I'm like
Yeah.
wearing like boxers, whatever, and they bring like this dogs down the line and like
Oh
I
my God.
couldn't help it. Like the thing, like the dog was like walking in front of me, like with his hand
Yeah.
there, and I was like, "Oh my God, hi!" And they were like, "Shut the fuck up!" I was like, I couldn't help it.
It's just your natural response when you see a dog.
Hi,
Oh, hi.
Oh my God,
Hi, buddy.
Yeah, I said, "Oh my God, hi!" And they yelled at me, and I was like, "Totally worth it. Totally worth it."
Absolutely.
I had a little moment with this dog. I mean, anyway, that was.
That's fucking classic.
And I'm sure other prisoners were like, God, this fucking idiot.
This green ass dude.
This green ass dude. It was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
It was worth
It's
it.
fine.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Oh, fuck it. That's really the motto at the end of the day when you're in prison. fuck it, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm already here, so fuck it.
you gotta find your moments to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, and be straight up like silly. Like we had this super. I just thought of this. We had like cards in the chapel. There's only access to cards that we could get sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I would like cross out what the message was and just write my own things. And there was one that had like this like bird on it. It was like it was a birthday card, I think. And it had some sort of like ridiculous message. And so I crossed it out and I said, on the hot breeze of an eagle's queen, a happy birthday to you, or something like that. It's just like stupid shit like that. Just like finding your time to like reiterate, like, I'm still in here.
The week before I left, I knew I was leaving. I knew I was going to work release. The week before I left, I had access to education in the library whenever I wanted. So I could be down there for like 8 hours a day or whatever, right? I'd have to come back for count, but sometimes the cop would count me down there in the education building. So I would just be down there all day.
Sweet.
So I went to the library and I corrected the spelling and grammar in every single urban novel. Which is mildly racist, but also hilarious. So whoever opened up, one of the every book is like,
yeah.
So I was just been trying to be helpful.
This got really lame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy fuck. Man, there's so many fucking stories that I'm thinking of. Actually, there's one that I'll wait and hoping that we get my buddy Magic on.
We should probably
just because that was
wrap it up anyway. Yeah.
So all that to say, thank you for having this conversation. I needed the laughs, generally speaking, and it's good to hopefully to hear that, like, while inside there were people that we came in contact with, and from our own senses of humor, we're able to find like some levity in what was otherwise like a really fucking horrible time. And we didn't all, have to check in.
It wasn't all search teams and
waffles.
nut huts.
It wasn't all waffles.
Even in the nut hut, you can still laugh. I do want to say, if you have experienced incarceration, or if you're a family member or a friend of somebody and you're watching this show, hopefully you can take this and go, you know what? Okay, so because I know one of the concerns about friends and family is like, you don't know what's happening with your loved one and they feel lost, and there's like a low level terror all the time. Are they getting beat up? Are they getting stabbed? What kind of assault is happening to them today? So just know that like there are many, many moments of laughter.
So it's not all horrible,
right?
Like there you can kind of find those little nuggets.
It's still horrible. I don't want anyone with the takeaway message that it's like, oh, it's not that bad. It's just everybody was laughing the whole time. Yeah, no, we made it okay.
Yeah, I was still not thrilled with the accommodations at the end of the day. That's a 1-star review.
Yep. Kevin, thank you so much, buddy.
Yep.
My brother from another mother, Kevin Scott. I'm Lee Scott. This has been Uncarcerated. Follow us, hit that little like, rate, and subscribe button. It helps us. And it's not just for our boost our ego. Here's what happens. Our algorithm is buried unless you hit the like. So it's great that you watch, but just hit the like or rate or subscribe button so that way other people can see this. And follow us on Twitter. We're going to start doing a lot more stuff on Twitter. So please follow us. That's at Uncarcerated on Twitter. And we'll see you in a couple days for hand farts.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.